Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Friday in the Rib. And boy, we got all kinds of things going on. We got
Well, I've got two things I got to talk
assassinations
about
and
right
everything
away.
else.
I got two things I got to talk about right away. Number one, tomorrow is the last day for Medicare enrollments. The open enrollment period ends tomorrow. Now, if you're a city employee, because we have a lot of city employees who watch, don't worry about it because you're not going to get better than the city plan. Believe me, you're not going to get better than the city plan. And you can tell because people who have left the city and are working for other companies have come back and applied for the city retirement because the healthcare plan is so wonderful. And that's the one thing Fall River has that's great is their healthcare plan. But for everyone else, if you're on Medicare and you want to consider a Medicare Advantage program, today and tomorrow are the last days that you can do it. Also, if you're looking at your PDP program, your prescription drug program, you also have today and tomorrow to change those. The only exception to that rule is if you're a low income subsidy Medicare recipient or if you're new to Medicare or you move. So that's one thing. Tomorrow at Battleship Cove is the memorial for what's tomorrow? December 7th for Pearl Harbor Day.
The day that shall live in infamy.
That's right. So there is a ceremony tomorrow at Battleship Cove. It's held on board the Battleship Massachusetts. So if you're interested in going, you can call the Battleship. I believe it starts at 1 o'clock, but don't quote me on it. So I got my information out. So there you go.
Well, let's prioritize that. The medical coverage issue is just it's an issue that's important to individuals. It happens to be falling on Pearl Harbor Day, but the day that they bombed Pearl Harbor obviously is an important day. It was a day that would live in infamy, and it has no correlation to anything that the Democrats try to spin into it. So, but we've got a lot of things going on here, and first of all, that murder of the CEO of
United Health
in New York. There's more and more coming out. Looks like they've gotten a pretty good bead on his suspect. They have facial rec. They've got a full picture of his face. They've got some stuff. Then I was watching some discussions on it. Obviously, it's the motive. I was curious. Everybody had immediately thought. And when I was reading about this stuff, I found some, because we know, I know you know, CJ, that a few years ago, United Health was sued and was convicted of manipulating their data.
Correct.
And United Health has done more than one thing that's been a little shady. So now they're under investigation for insider trading. So initially, people were speculating that it could have been a disgruntled client, because the other thing I learned about this is that I think they said on a bullet casings it had deny. Yeah, well, they've inundated you with all kinds of material. So hopefully you did your homework. If you work for the city, I can guarantee you that the plan is about the best you can get. People who worked for the state only were working part-time for the city as city councilors, but worked for the county. Everybody retires in Fall River through the system so they can get the health care. They don't want the GIC. They want what we got. And our premium is about $40 or $50 lower than the premium that's being that they have over in the housing authority. So that's another issue. But yeah, I found that They are. Yeah, yeah. Well, our thoughts are always with those people. There's still people entombed on a USS Arizona. I actually went to that memorial when I was in Hawaii, and very, very powerful. And but 1/3 of the people have their claims denied at United Health initially. So first thought for a lot of people was that the it was some person who lost a loved one because they got a claim denied and they had to fight for claims. Now they're talking about it could be someone who was attempting to, who not attempting, he actually succeeded in eliminating this guy because they were afraid that when this investigation for insider trading, he was going to roll over on some people. So cut a deal, so to speak. So it's interesting, but I mean, it just goes to show, how much this healthcare system in the United States needs addressing. We have good healthcare in a lot of places, but we don't have great healthcare. We are not number one in virtually anything. Infant mortality, we're way down. We have third world countries. The price we get, we have some great hospitals, and we're fortunate enough to live within a driving proximity of some of the best hospitals in the world. But that's not, hospitals all over the country. We pay the most for healthcare, and there's a lot of corruption. Yeah, well, look, there's no, there's no excuse for, murdering someone that because you don't like their political or whatever, uh, their business dealings. You don't do business with them. You don't like United Healthcare, get the hell out of United Healthcare. Some people are locked in because I think they said the Hollywood firefighters are suing United Health or something about because it's part of something in their, I guess they have some investments in it, in their pension system. But you don't shoot people. You shouldn't. But then again, that's one of the great flaws of humans. All the rest of the animals in the animal kingdom, and we are an animal, only kill to survive. Humans kill for greed, for anger, and that is a problem. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this, with this case. But it's going to show again how this attitude of being totally crazy about people who have a different view, not just saying, okay, I don't agree with you, and I don't think there's anything really that is important enough to stop people from going to your Thanksgiving dinner and doing it. These people have what they call in psychology inappropriate affect. The Democrats that are still clinging on to Joe Biden's was a great president, and I don't want to invite anybody to my Thanksgiving dinner, and still calling names to everybody. They've got psychological issues because, look, reality is what's done is done. It really gets me. There are people calling up and saying Trump's going to do this and Trump's going to do that and Trump's going to eliminate Medicare and Trump's going to, stop all abortions, which is number one. He said he wasn't. Eliminate this, eliminate that, and it doesn't matter what he said. Because what people say and what people do sometimes are different things. Let's see if he keeps his promises to straighten out the bureaucracy and do a lot of things. Remember something, Democrats. When Joe Biden got elected, he promised to bring the country together. Have you forgotten that already? But all he did for 4 years is call everybody that was not on his side a fascist. Remember the speech with the red background? That foreboding speech about how dangerous all these people are. Dangerous. Well, those people suffered 4 years of him going back on every single promise, of violating every law and running the country by fiat. And they got their revenge at the ballot box. So what I'm telling you is simply shut the fuck up. Okay? We're sick of it. Okay? We're sick of your bullshit. Let's see what he does. And if he does something that's bad, well, everybody will say it's bad, including people who supported him. Do you really think, you morons, that he's going to eliminate Social Security and Medicare? He can't, you goddamn dumbos. There's not a congressman or senator on the planet Earth that will allow him to do that, because none of them will ever get reelected again. You know how many people in this country are on Social Security and Medicare? They will never get elected again. They will be out so fast. They will whitewash. We won't have to hope Trump wipes out the bureaucracy, because the voters will do exactly what they did in this election, and they will wipe out Congress.
That's it. Now, I think one of the big fears that people are getting is this Doge committee, to get rid of government excesses. And one of the rumors, because I can't confirm it, is that their plan is to suggest cuts to Medicare and Social Security. Now, maybe they plan on cutting Medicare and Social Security, but not where we think. They may not cut the benefits. They may cut the bureaucracy involved in providing those services, because there's a lot of bureaucracy in providing Medicare and Social Security. Just like there's a lot of bureaucracy in Massachusetts to provide DTA benefits and food stamps and mass health. There's a lot of bureaucracies that we don't need. And we don't have to have.
That's a tremendous point. That's where they were actually focusing on, the bureaucracies. Because listen, this is what you got. 1% of the hundreds of thousands of federal government workers that work in Washington work 5 days a week. The only people that work 5 days a week in Washington now, since COVID, are the security at the buildings and the maintenance people. That's right. Absolutely. And the thing is that 1%, only 6% work in Washington at all. You don't think there has to be a problem here? There's no problem that has to be addressed? We got way too many people? They had a guy that actually posted a video of himself working at home taking a bubble bath. They first said 12, and that was revised to 15 people in a VA office having an orgy. They were called, the director of the VA was called in front of Congress. He admitted it happened. He said, oh, but they've all resigned. This is what they do. This is what we're paying these people, gigantic salaries. They're having it. When they do show up to work, they have an orgy. We spend $15 billion on buildings that are virtually empty. You don't think we need somebody to look at this? Especially people who are real businessmen and live in the real world where they cut out all the fat. They can't afford to have, all these people working at home doing nothing. 4 years after COVID, they still haven't showed up to work, and Biden now wants to sign a 5-year contract so they can get through Trump's term without coming to work. That shows what the Democrats are about. They're all about this bureaucracy. We've got tens of thousands of people that have jobs that do virtually nothing. They don't even have to show up for work. Nobody knows they're gone. Nobody gives a shit. We have them in the city. CJ talked a couple of shows ago about one of our people who got hired a few administrations ago, and he's still wandering around the halls of City Hall. These ticks, beautiful. There's another one. So this is what you got. Well, at least he's not having an orgy. He's got to wake up to do that. But I'll tell you, they're having an orgy on the taxpayers. They're taking our money. This is crazy. These people are nuts. They have psychological issues. They have inappropriate ethic. All they want to do is call everybody names and deride Trump. Look at, he's elected. Shut up. Let him serve his term. Let's see what he does. We will call him out on this show, and I'll guarantee it. If he does anything that we disagree with, we'll nail him to the wall. I don't care. I don't particularly like everything he does, but he did a pretty good job his first 4 years. He's a businessman. We've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt the problem with government is government. We can't have people like Paul Coogan who live their whole life on the government dole coming in and putting everybody, all his friends to work. Giving everybody pay rate. Oh, he screwed up. Oh, well, he just made a mistake. Let's give him a pay raise. Oh, the buildings are falling apart. We got a maintenance department. Give him a pay raise. Build another building. Get a debt override. We don't care. Well, that's not a micro. That's a microcosm of what happens at the federal government, because the federal government, it's a billion times worse. So you clowns don't think we need people looking at this stuff? You don't think the taxpayers have had enough? Well, we have, and that's why we voted the way we did. Because we're sick of Biden giving $1 billion to Angola while the people in North Carolina are still sleeping in tents. And winter's coming. We're sick and tired of them giving $1 million to study transvestite monkeys in Central America while Americans go hungry. It's time for a reckoning. Federally, state, and local. So this was the beginning. So stop complaining. Let him get into office. Let's see what he does. But no, what are you doing? You're already trying to Trump-proof everything. You're making it as difficult as possible to fix the problem you guys created, the bureaucracy. Biden just signed a 5-year contract letting them work at home. I don't know if there's an orgy clause. I'd have to look at the contract. So with that, CJ, back to you.
And, it's definitely true. Hey, maybe they get paid extra money for those orgies. You know, it's the days of the Roman Empire all over again.
Exactly.
Hedonism. Let's go, hedonism.
That's right. But it's crazy. Let's let the guy take off and stop your crap. You know, when Biden got elected, you didn't see. It was VA. It was the VA. It was at a VA office, and they actually had videos. Yeah, you know.
No problem, Mario. Long time
Hey,
no
Mario,
see.
I haven't heard from you in a long time. I hope you're doing well, young man.
Yeah, he's in EMS now, I believe.
Yeah, well, I won't hold that against him, but
I remember when he worked at St. Anne's. He was an excellent caretaker there. So
yeah,
Mario, we have nothing bad to say about you.
No, he's a great young man, and he works hard, and that's
Yes,
all
he
you can
does.
ask from people. And but you know, it's crazy. They spend all their time. They call everybody negative, but they're the negatives because they're the ones who don't want to change the bureaucracy. They're the ones that are going to block everything. Good for you. You know, that's a very good profession, Mario. I wish you the best of luck. But you know, they call everybody names, but they're projecting. And like I said, they have inappropriate affect. Look, when Biden got elected, we didn't say, oh, you know, they're all fascists because they elected him, even though they are. But we didn't say that. You know, we didn't cry and whine and try to block everything he did. You couldn't block everything he did. He just did everything by fiat. He just ignored every law for 4 years. How could anybody be worse than Joe Biden? That's my question. How can anybody be worse? He violated, the Supreme Court told him he couldn't pay back tuition. He did. They told him he couldn't do things at the border. He did. He's ignored everything. He's a criminal, just like his son. But then they're gonna go on and say Trump's gonna stop Social Security, so this and that. Look, get real, people. You're either extremely stupid or you're clueless, or both. Or both. Because, look, CJ's been involved in Medicare for years.
Too long.
He knows how much bureaucracy and bullshit there is associated not with the health care, but with the bureaucracy and the paperwork, because he does this. He can vouch for this. So, you know, for you to think that anybody would get rid of these programs, which, remember, the people that these programs affect have about a 99% voting turnout. Elderly people vote. Some of them have nothing better to do.
Isn't that the truth?
They always show up to vote. You really believe that the Senate and the House would let any president, Republican, Democrat, or alien, ever take away this stuff?
No, all they ever did was take money out of the trust fund to use on other pet projects.
That's
but
exactly.
You know, that's not a big problem. You know, that's why right now the only thing paying for Social Security benefits is the people who are working today, which means when they go to retire, they may not have any money.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
But you worked with this stuff. You've been working with this stuff for years, CJ. Nobody knows better than you what kind of crap that paperwork is. Yeah, there you go.
This is more regulations. This is a change in the PDP programs.
Okay.
I'm telling you, if it's one thing, it's another. Okay? They're sending out notifications to people who are on one particular drug program saying, now you're going to have to pay more money for it. So these three programs here are the same cost or less. And believe it or not, I was surprised. They're recommending Blue Cross Blue Shield I was surprised as hell that they're going to pay less for it. So
Blue Cross must have given them a campaign donation.
I think so, because that's what, they're giving them the drug program. And WellCare has always been a low cost provider. But I just find it interesting because, I mean, I get emails and mailings and everything else about changes in the regulations. For instance, Medicare, by regulation, cannot pay for weight loss drugs. Cannot. But if you meet certain criteria, and the criteria is you have to have a cardiovascular disease, post-stroke, post-TIA, post-circulatory issues, suffering from kidney disease, any of those items, you can qualify to get the weight loss drugs, Wegovy or Zepbound, and they'll pay for it. But they make you jump through hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop after hoop. And it's not until you get to the final appeal process that they finally say it's not worth going to court order. We're just gonna pay. We're just gonna pay for it now.
Well, you know the irony of that. They will not give you that until you get a disease.
That's right.
Where if you are morbidly obese, you will get one of those diseases ultimately, and you're going to get a hell of a lot of health care in between. So it would make sense to give you the weight drug to cure you of that, so you don't get all these diseases. This is what Robert Kennedy fundamentally is saying. They poison us with the food. They don't give you the medications which could be preventative. That Wegovy and Zepbound could prevent coronary artery disease and all these other diseases that you just articulated. And this is how ridiculous they are. And because they don't care about people. It's like, who cares? It's like, just don't give it to them unless they make it, like you said, it'll make you jump through hoops. And it was, I forgot the three things already. I saw the report what he wrote on a bullet casings. It's deny, delay, and something else. That's what their insurance plan is. In other words, make them all. Did you ever see that movie Rainmaker?
Yes, I have.
That was a great movie. It was about that. It was about a health insurance company that denied, cancer treatments for a young man who died, and then they proved that they routinely denied like 95% of the claims automatically, just to hope that they don't have to pay them, even if they were justified. Well, this is crazy. And
well, that's interesting. You should bring that up, because Blue Cross Blue Shield, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is the same thing, just finally rescinded a regulation which said that anesthesia can only be used for so much time in the OR. How is the surgeon, supposed to know how much time in the OR he's going to need? Because sometimes an appendectomy may be easy and it may be fast, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but something could happen which extends it. Oh, well, we're only paying for 45 minutes of anesthesia. You're going to have to do the rest of the surgery with the guy wide awake. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah. I only got his brain open. And by the way, since I got his skull open and I'm working out his brain, you're out of anesthesia. Well, you know why this is about? It's about them trying to get away with paying less. Then the patient has to sue them. The hospital has to write 1 billion reports to justify why they went over 45 minutes. You know the drill, so do I, because I've been dealing with complaints. I got one initiated now. Yeah. I'm going to have to sue. Because, they ordered tests that they said weren't covered. Doctor ordered them. I didn't order them. I was in an emergency room in urgent care. They want me to pay because they can't find a code. They're saying it's not. So they say, let the patient pay. We don't care. And then they just made another error in the last blood test they took. They gave me the wrong test. So they're going to try to make me pay for that too. But because they, the doctor ordered the correct test. They didn't give me the correct blood test. So now I have to go get stuck again. But this is the kind of crap you put up with. And, for people to start, say, Trump's going to do this, Trump's going to do that. Let's look at what Trump got in, and he didn't destroy the country in 4 years. Biden got in, promised to bring the country together, promised to be a kind and gentle president, and he destroyed not the country. He destroyed it.
He divided the country.
Divided it like no other president has ever. Yeah. And yeah, they don't care. Doctors now, they're under the thumb of the administrators. But listen,
hey, let me tell you, and let me tell you something. It is tough. Being a doctor today isn't being a doctor like it was 50 years ago. Being a doctor today is all paperwork. You have to know the paperwork. You have to know the codes. You have to know the reasons. You have to be able to justify everything you've done. And that's why, I'm sure when you've gone to your doctor's office, you see the medical assistant comes in with the laptop, and she's asking you, or he's asking you, specific questions, and they're answering them. Why? Because Medicare or the insurance company requires those questions be asked. And if they're not asked, you don't get paid. And that's, you shouldn't be living your life that way as a doctor or a medical provider. You should be able to practice your craft and do it well, instead of worrying about, do I have to get the billing right? I mean, when I see my doctor or my nurse practitioner, they have to fill out the codes as they're sitting at the appointment table. They're focusing more on the billing codes than they are on me. It's terrible.
Because that's the only way that's the only way they get. You're right. It's all about money. But that's the only way they get paid. They put the wrong code in, and they're in for months of trying to undo it and try to get paid. This is what happens. But let's shift gears quickly, because we want to talk about that thing in Dartmouth. But before we do, I went down to the Registry of Motor Vehicles, one of my favorite places in the world, yesterday to renew my driver's license. It's my birthday this month, and my license was due. And so I went down there because I used to wear glasses, and then now I don't wear glasses anymore because I had my eye surgery. So I went down there, and when I filled out, I had all the paperwork filled out. I went online and I got the paperwork, and I filled the paperwork, and I went down to the registry, and it says, you can go right into the express line. So I walk into the registry. First thing I do is it says, if go into the green line. I start going to the green. The guy starts yelling at me, oh, wait a minute. What? You got to check in. Really? So I got to go stand in a line with a whole bunch of people that didn't do anything online to go where I don't have to wait in line. That's the first thing. So immediately I'm already not happy. The system is. So then I get there and I hand the person, the lady, the paperwork, and she looks at the paperwork. I got everything, page about, answering the questions and stuff. It's all set, signed. Oh, where's page 2? So I said, page 2's voter registration. She says, yeah, give it to me. I said, I didn't fill it out. I'm already registered to vote. You still have to fill it out. No, I'm saying, what do you mean I still have to fill it out? The state of Massachusetts is requiring me to register to vote. I don't have to do that. It's my right to be able to vote. It's my privilege, but it's a personal choice. If I don't feel like registering to vote, I shouldn't be required to register to vote. She made me fill out the damn paperwork. And then she gives me a sheet that said, your information will be reported to your local, so you can be registered by your locality, by your municipality. And it's like, then when I walked out, I started thinking about it. I said, you know something? I know why they're doing this. This is how they get illegals on the rolls in these blue states. Where they
Because remember, we give licenses to illegals.
This is why they don't want voter ID. You notice they don't say you don't need an ID to get on an airplane unless you're an illegal, because then you could just walk on a plane. But the Democrats don't want voter ID. It's because now in these blue states, they automatically register everyone who walks into a government office to vote, whether or not they're citizens or not. So now if you can't prove your citizenship when you vote, they get to vote. That's why in some states where they actually checked, they found literally thousands of these people on the voter rolls. So, again, this is another thing that these blue states do. Yeah, that was the old days when they made house calls and stuff. Yeah, that was the good old days, Linda. Those days no longer exist. I wish they did. But I just wanted to go to, so everybody, when you go down to the registry, this is a public service announcement. Fill out the voter registration thing, because they're going to break you. They're going to give you a hard time. They're going to ask you for page 2. I think you should just be able to sign, and I did not sign the bottom of the page. I should have been able to sign the bottom of the page without answering any of the questions.
I always thought you had the option. I mean, I've seen it before on forms from Massachusetts agencies, because what happened was the Democrats here in Massachusetts passed a law saying that anytime you have interaction with a state agency, you must be offered the option to register to vote. Doesn't say you're required to register to vote. You're offered the option to register to vote. So what happened to you, I think, is illegal. I think what they did was absolutely illegal.
I think it is too, because I still got the paper that said that we will send your information to your voter registration bureau. So that means that even though if I say I don't want that to do it, they're sending it anyway.
That's right. And you know, the worst part about it is, and I've heard this from Ryan Lyons, I believe I heard it from Kelly at one time too. They get inundated with these voter registrations from state agencies for people already registered to vote, and there are no changes. But they have to confirm it because they got the form in the mail, and they get them. I guess they get them by computer or something. And in my opinion, if you get it by a computer, just run them into the system and let them correct themselves, and instead of taking 1 or 2 people and having them spend hours on confirming this.
Like you said, now they got to confirm me. I've been voting since I was old enough to vote. I've been a registered voter since I turned 21 years old.
That was you in Methuselah, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was what. Well, I used to ride to the polls on a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's how long ago that was. Yeah, I used to take my Tyrannosaurus Rex to the polls with me. You know. Yeah, exactly. You know, this is why we need Doge, because this is it. But I just wanted everybody to know this public service announcement. If you're renewing your license, at least sign the second sheet and let them do whatever the hell they want with it. I could have argued with her, but I'm saying, you know something, the last thing I need to do is get arrested at the Registry of Motor Vehicles arguing, you know, that I refuse to register to vote when I'm already registered to vote. So I said, hell with it. I said, I just want to get the hell out of here. They've already aggravated me. I took enough time to go online, download all the paperwork, fill it out, get everything straightened out so I could just walk in and go to the express line. I couldn't even do that. So right off the bat, I'm pissed off. I walk in, it's like, no, you can't go on the express line. Why not? I got all this paperwork here. What? I don't care. You still got to stand in line. Well, what the hell? Why go online?
That's right.
I mean, why go online? Again, like let's say redundancy, bureaucracy. This is what the government does best. They can't run a one-man parade. So let's switch over to the Dartmouth town administrator job, CJ. You sent me a little thing to look at. I looked at it, and it's very interesting. A few of those candidates are they're kind of known if you watch a few council meetings, I'd say.
Yes. It seems that Sean Kadim and Bridget, the chief financial officer, are in line to potentially become the new Dartmouth town administrator. Now, is something happening in Seekonk? Because Sean Kadim is the town administrator in Seekonk. So is something happening there, or is he just looking to bump his pay again? I don't know. But you'll notice he stays at city council. You know why? He's paying into the Florida retirement system. So when he retires, he's got good health care.
True.
And, the sad part about all of that is Bridget can't do her job as a chief financial officer. What the hell is she going to do as a town administrator? That's what scares me. They have two other people which are running. There's four that are running. And the two other people that are already acting as interim co-town administrators. You would think that would give them the bump up on the potential of getting the job. I don't know. Maybe it would. Maybe it wouldn't.
Yeah, it brings up some interesting questions, like you said.
Yes, it does.
Very interesting questions, because why would he makes big money over in Seekonk?
That's right.
I do not think that I would be extremely surprised. I mean, I could be wrong, but I would be extremely surprised if being the town administrator in Dartmouth paid anywhere near what it did in Seekonk. Seekonk's a pretty, you look at Dartmouth. Look, Dartmouth's a nice little, kind of suburban enclave, but the fact is not a heck of a lot in Dartmouth compared to Seekonk. You go to Seekonk, my God, you drive down Route 6, there's businesses everywhere. That place is very, and they have a very high per capita income. Unless, I don't know if that job is a full-time job or what, but why he would want to apply for that unless there was maybe there's something going on. Maybe he's a little insecure in that position now. I don't know. So it brings up some questions. And Bridget, well, we know that Bridget's contract ends up in April, and there are a lot of rumblings around about whether she's going to be remain on the payroll or not.
Right.
So.
Right.
I can see her applying, but the other two, there's two ways to look at it. Yeah, that's right. Maybe it's a part-time job and he wants to do Seekonk and Dartmouth at the same time. I don't know.
Linda, is it apple or cherry?
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I hope it's cherry. That's my favorite. Although I do like apple pie too. Cherry's my favorite. I always look forward to February because they have cherry pie at Greg's. It's the only month they have cherry pie. But that was a complete aside because I love cherry pie. But the co-interim administrators, that could be a test by the town to see which one they felt was doing a better job. Or it could be that neither of them are competent enough to do the whole job. So this is going to be very interesting. We're going to have to keep our eye on it because we have two of the people we see on a regular basis at every council meeting applying for a job in another community. So what does that mean? They want to work anywhere but Fall River.
Yeah, but the thing is that Sean has kept his job as city councilor for as long as he's been a town administrator in Seekonk. So I don't think that if he takes town administrator in Dartmouth, will he leave the city council? I mean, it's too much of an easy job. I mean, he shows up late, doesn't show up at all, doesn't matter, he still gets paid. Bridget, on the other hand, can't answer simple questions. She has no idea. She sits there and looks like a deer in the headlights sometimes. And she tries to make it sound like she knows what she's doing, but when you ask her, she turns around and says, well, I have other people in my office that do it. Well, if you have other people in your office that do it, what do we need you for? What do we need you for? And maybe that's why she's looking. And she's still from Warwick, Rhode Island. She's not even local. I guess in Rhode Island, they don't care if you can do your job. I care here.
Yeah.
And I've listened to the line of bullshit that comes out of a lot of people's mouths that sit in the well at the city council meetings. And I can think of two right off the top of my head. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but it was interesting that like I said, these two, like as you said, look, Sean Kadim, it's a good gig. The council, they make a nice that's a little bit of pin money,
Yeah.
They show up, and then they, and that's why I haven't heard them do it lately. Remember when the meetings used to run long because there were a lot of issues on it, and they actually used to complain?
Yeah.
You think somebody in Fall River would complain about getting the kind of money they're getting to show up twice a month, maybe once a month in the summer, and maybe a couple of committee meetings, and get that kind of money where the meetings normally last an hour or two? So it's like that's why he's not going to give it up as long as he keeps getting reelected. But as Mario said, we had a red wave. Trump won Fall River. It's time for the red wave to continue with a red wave, any color but what we got in. I don't care. And speaking of that, I don't know if you got it. Someone called me, one of our regular contributors, and said that we're talking about government bureaucracy and these people who love it, like Maura Healey, Michelle Wu, Paul Coogan. Coogan was on the radio telling everybody, don't worry, we're going to keep Fall River Democrat. Well, we already lost it. I mean, Trump won Fall River. Yeah. But he was on the radio, assuaging everybody's fears that we were going to, that Fall River was going to go red. And I don't know if that's, I'll try to corroborate that, but we wait a minute. Federal Appeals Court upholds law requiring sale or ban of TikTok in the U.S. But that's an appeals court. Now they got enough money to take it to the Supreme Court. So that's just hot off the wires, everybody. Just got that alert in. So if you're interested in TikTok, which I'm not, but
well, that order to sell was supposed to be for January.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. That's for sure. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, people are upset of the TikTok users because they say it's going to cut their income. And I don't understand how people on TikTok can be making $30,000, $40,000 a month, turning around saying, I won't go there. I won't buy that. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. I'll travel this airline. Makes no sense to me. They're called influencers. If you can be influenced that easily by a teenager who has nothing better to do with their life than to sit in front of a camera, you need help.
Yeah. It's a commentary on how much the society's degenerated. I used to write the polls on a dinosaur. You went in a Model T, but we're
I got a tough arm from that. We're
too old to be influenced by some nitwit. You know, it's like the whole concept of these influences and stuff just goes to show that we've basically removed the brains from a couple of generations now. They worked so hard at brainwashing these kids into just doing what they're told. Everybody's a communist, you know, to be communists, and everybody's this. They've convinced them on Palestine. I mean, influences. I mean, if you're influenced by some idiot on TikTok, you have issues. It's like, look, I tried. I went on influence trying to push hair products, but it didn't work. I don't understand it. No, I'm only kidding. I don't do TikTok. I don't even have TikTok on my.
I don't do TikTok either. So
I don't do TikTok. I don't even do Facebook. So it's like, look. You got to think for yourself, people. We always tell you, look, you don't have to agree with us. Do your homework. Check everything we say. Check everything everybody says. But when you get somebody on TikTok, like you said, but look, we could tell the society was going to shit nearly 10 years ago. Remember, although you don't see her much anymore, remember that? What was she, 12? That Thornburg that started the big green movement. She was like the Joan of Arc of the Green New Deal.
Yep.
You got some 12-year-old telling you that the earth is going to end and that you're killing her. So once you begin to believe crap like that, I hate to tell you, everybody, but it's going to take a long time for global warming to if it does anything. Remember what happened to we did have a very warm Earth once. We had dinosaurs.
That's right.
In a tropical world. And what happened? Did global warming kill the Earth? No. The Earth did what the Democratic Party should do. It self-corrected. They had an ice age and wiped out the dinosaurs. That's it. Greta Thunberg. Well, I can't, those Nordic names. I can't do the Nordic pronunciation.
She's looking for an order of lutefisk right now, so.
yeah, that's right. You were up in Minnesota. That's right. You were up there with all those Nordic types, so
That's right.
all the stuff they eat. You can pronounce those like beyond and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, well, I wasn't a lutefisk lover.
But
for those of you who don't know, lutefisk is its content.
Greta, you're listening to some 12-year-old and making her into a martyr. It's like, get a grip, people. Think for yourself. We did have an ice age. You forgot about it because there was, that's why there's no dinosaurs. They all died because there was an ice age. The Earth will either self-correct or it'll be destroyed. But that's going to be about a couple of millennials down the road, if ever. No. Linda, please. You're asking them to be reasonable and use logic? You must be in the Christmas spirit. You're giving them a lot more credit than they should get.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. And if you want to watch those interviews of those town administrators, potential town administrators, it's going to be on YouTube. So don't think it's not there for you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's going to be chilly, but it's supposed to get warmer. So don't worry about it. Thanks for watching.